Welcome to another edition of Bucher and Hollins, subsidiary of the Bucher and Friends podcast, which is under the umbrella of the United WeCast Network. I'm Rick Bucher. You can read my stuff on Bleacher Report. You can find me at Rick Bucher on Twitter. He's Ryan Hollins, former NBA center. You can see him on ESPN, and you can find him on Twitter at the Ryan Hollins. You can also follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. And if you enjoy the show, please drop us a rating and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Screenshot your review and tweet it to us at Bucher Friends, and you'll be entered for a chance to win some serious swag from Ryan, Will Blackman, who's with me on Mondays or Tuesdays, the former NFL DB, or me. So with no further ado, Ryan had a couple of interesting tilts tonight. I think the one that goes to the top of my list, obviously we had the Bucks and the Celtics. Celtics getting past the Bucks after leading comfortably early on, squeezed it out at the end. But we also had the Blazers with their first meeting with the New Orleans Pelicans since the two met in the playoffs last year, and the Blazers, the higher seed, the number 3 seed, getting swept out by the New Orleans Pelicans. So I wanted to avail myself of your knowledge. Now, Anthony Davis did not play. I think Elfrid Payton was not available for the New Orleans Pelicans, so it wasn't the Pelicans at full strength. Obviously, Rajon Rondo is no longer there. What does a game like this mean the following season against a team that upset you in the playoffs the previous year?
The one thing we know, we got to start at the beginning. The head of the state, Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. He was embarrassed. He was frustrated. Honestly, he was ready to move on. Now, obviously, he tempered those emotions. He was ready to move on. And there's something personal that happened, dude, because they got dogged last year. They stepped into the West as the 3 seed and got dogged by the Pelicans.
Now, keep in mind, to be fair, there was 3-game difference between the 3rd seed and the team that finished 9th outside of the playoffs. So it's not as if, it's still, you were the top seed, you had home court advantage, you got swept. I'm with you on all that. But it's not as if there was this real great separation outside of, there was Golden State, there was Houston, and then there was everybody else.
You know, Rick, numbers don't lie. There was a big separation. If it was 1 game, if it was 2 games, right, they were supposed to be the better team. At one point, who was Rajon Rondo? Who were these guys other than Anthony Davis? You know, we pretty much, you could safely say all year long with Boogie Cousins out, who were the Pelicans? And they ran Portland. And this was supposed to be Portland's year. They spent some money. Damian Lillard is supposed to be coming into his own. He's frustrated over all-star stubs. Who was he? This was personal, dude. They laid an egg last year. I don't care however you want to put it, numbers you want to put it. They laid an egg, Rick.
Sure.
Come on, bro.
And they won 132-119. Now, Anthony Davis did not play. And as I noted, Rajon Rondo no longer on the team. Elfrid Payton sort of the substitute, but he wasn't available. But with a big piece like AD out of the picture, how much does this 132-119 win? Yes, I'm sure you want to beat the Pelicans. You want to make a statement. But can you say you've really made the statement that you want to make, which is, we'll beat you, and we'll beat you full strength?
No, it was enough, though, because Julius Randle's playing like a monster. Misilovic, or what's his name? Telovich, I'm sorry, I'm ruining his name right now. But they
Mirotic?
Still have... Yeah, Mirotic, okay. Stupid American, right? Stupid American, don't ruin his name.
Wow.
You don't know Mirotic.
I didn't know where you're going. I was like, okay.
Oh,
what
God.
is he?
Hey,
Bogdanovich? Teletovic? Like, who is he at? Who's he talking about?
It's a very good team. They're still a very good team. Julius Randle's a baller. They paid him some money.
Drew Holiday?
Drew Holiday.
Yep.
They expected Anthony Davis to miss games.
Yeah, how about that, by the way?
About that.
But let's not walk past that. He's never played 82 games in a season. Now, the previous 2 years, he's been more healthy than he's been. 75 games. But that's the high water mark for him. And this is part of what I see as, can we put Anthony Davis in that superstar strata, if you will? Can you? And a lot of people would say, of course you can. Look at the numbers. Look at the talent. But if I look at the accomplishments and I look at the availability, he's gone to the second round once?
Nah, you can't do it, Rick. And I'm tired of his name being thrown around with greats when he ain't done nothing great. Is he talented? Yes. Can he shoot, dribble, pass, rebound, block shots, do all that and this and the other? Yes. but the greatest ability is availability. And he is lacking right there. Yeah. Anthony Davis is good. We're not questioning talent, but he's not available. He has not won anything yet. Regular season, there's nothing he's doing right now other than maybe his team record without Boogie Cousins right now that we haven't seen from Anthony Davis during his career.
Right.
No, Rick. Don't mention him with LeBron. Don't mention him with Kobe. Don't mention him with Michael. None of that MVP. I don't want to hear it, dude. He ain't available.
Yeah. No, that's certainly part of it. And then look, the numbers will blow you away. But I put it out on Twitter that we need to put a moratorium on taking statistical achievements in the game, especially this year. I would say last year as well, but especially this year, because the pace for every team, the officiating, which has opened up the freedom of movement everywhere on the floor as much as possible, and the style of play that everybody is playing. I don't know what it was, De'Aaron Fox, it was somebody, but we got all these young guns, not even young guns. We just got players in the league that are putting up numbers, and I hear so-and-so is the first player since Larry Bird or Wilt Chamberlain or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to put these kind of numbers up this early in a season or whatever. And I'm like, stop doing that, because you may not be saying this player is as good as the legend that you just named, but you kind of are. You're kind of suggesting they're on the same level. And they're not. There's no comparison, because the numbers that a guy can get in today's game are infinitely easier to get than they were 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago. So I feel as if we just need to stop doing that. Just don't make that comparison, or somehow you have to qualify it.
No, Rick, dude, I agree. I'm watching the game, and I'm really salty right now as a big man, because it is sweet for big men right now. Yeah. When I rolled to the rim, I was getting my back blown up by a power forward. Okay, by a small forward who couldn't shoot but just played nothing but defense. I was getting lit up, and playing with a non-shooting power forward for most of the part. There was always help. You're never going to be open on a roll to the basket because you took away dunks and layups. Okay. Nowadays, you take away threes. Nowadays, there's no power forward. Nowadays, you just get behind the center. You got a wide open dunk, bro.
Yeah. Could you have shot the three? If you had, from the beginning of your career, that had been part of your arsenal, or you would have had the opportunity to develop that, are you confident that you could have made that part of your game?
110%, man. I mean, I shot literally hundreds and thousands of mid-range jumpers, bro, that could have been three-pointers.
Yeah.
Even at least at minimum a corner three. I can knock down a corner three, but every time you stepped out and shot a three-pointer, you get screamed at by a coach to say, what are you doing out there? Come on, big fella, come back and get in the post. Come back and get in the post. What are you doing? You're wasting your time. And now everybody's, what are you doing shooting that mid-range? Go shoot a three. Stop wasting your time and my time.
Right. And that's just a small example of how dramatically the game has changed, and why I don't want to be on a soapbox here, but or be the grumpy old man on his porch telling me
you do sound like the cranky old man sometimes, Rick.
I you know what, I do, and unfortunately I sound like that more often now than I ever did in the past, and I try my best. The relevance is the amount of time, the ratio is the amount of time that I spend looking at social media is in direct proportion to how grumpy I get, because I just see a lot of stuff put out there, right? And it gets me salty. I do a fairly good job of not responding to most of it, but when you just got that constant stream coming at you of ludicrous assertions or statements, there's some point where I go, I just can't, I have to address this. I have to respond to this. And then you sound like the grumpy old man. So, all right, we're going to get away from the grumpiness and help all of you out there, as we do every Friday. We do this under the auspices of sportsbetcollective.com. Let's face it, betting on sports makes the games a lot more fun to watch. And I'm going to give you several NBA picks over the course of the week at sportsbetcollective.com, along with commentary and insider knowledge you won't find anywhere else. Now, the first pick and analysis is free. And I'm doing the NBA, but you got any number of sports media experts, professional sports bettors, retired athletes, sports-obsessed entertainers like Michael Rappaport that are giving you their picks as well, and at a very high success rate. So whether you're a seasoned sharp, as they like to say, or a total sports betting beginner, sportsbetcollective.com will help you beat the odds no matter the size of your bet. And it's just, there's some great reading. You're going to get to know the personalities behind them. It's a lot of fun, and it's under $1 per pick. You can't beat it. So check it out. You can catch all of my picks at sportsbetcollective.com. I just gave you taking the Mavs and the 7.5 points against the Lakers, and I told you why. That's what you get at sportscollective.com. But here on Fridays, we just go through a number of the games, and Ryan and I put our heads together and collectively decide where you should go on your bets. Okay, let's run through a couple of these. I'm gonna hit the more interesting ones right off the top. The Houston Rockets are visiting the Brooklyn Nets, and they are giving up 3.5 points. Are the Rockets really looked at being that underwhelming at this point? Do you like that number? Or do you think that's a gimme for the Brooklyn Nets because they could win this out?
I don't think it's a gimme. I will take the Nets if you're going to give 3 right now. The Nets are actually playing really good. Instead of infusing youth like the rest of the NBA, they're actually playing a little older for Reed's in the lineup. Dimwitty is a year older.
Man, is he playing well?
Dude, he's a baller, man. I've always loved his game. We play pickup ball, and we play against some of the higher tier guys, and he's always held his own. We've been able to run courts, man, and I was like, nah, this dude right here can really play. But Houston's struggling right now. They don't know if they're defensive-minded. They should strap up that end. They don't know if they need to score. And Chris Paul ain't no darn James Harden, bro.
Well, are we seeing the beginning of the end when it comes to Chris Paul as far as being a dominant player, as a guy who can carry the weight of a team?
I thought that was 5 years ago.
Wow, 5 years ago is a little much.
I thought it was 5 years ago.
Maybe in the
What
last
has he
year
won?
or two, I'd be
Tell me
with
what
you
he's
that
won
I've
by
questioned
himself.
that.
What is he, Mom? I mean, because you get numbers don't make you a good player.
Let's qualify. I'm not talking about overall in terms of carrying a team to the conference finals.
You threw the D word out, bro. You said dominant. He ain't been dominant since maybe you flirt with when he originally got to the Clippers. New Orleans, Chris, he ain't been dominant, man, after that knee surgery, dude. We forget the Chris who could finish on the rim, who would pick you apart, who could run all day. This dude does it with his mind now and his intelligence. So that D word ain't quite there.
And his orneriness.
Yeah. The discipline, the intelligent, the crafty Chris Paul. Yeah, that dude puts in work. But dominant, he ain't the same. Just you would fear him in the pick and roll, bro, because he would eat you apart.
Well, then with that in mind, I look at this and I'm with you. I take the Nets and I take the 3.5. And I also look at, now this is what's really interesting. 216 is the over-under. That feels low to me. With the way the Rockets like to get out and try to get up and down, do you expect that the Nets, I haven't looked at their pace lately, but are they going to play a slower style against the Rockets?
They're still going over. They will get blown out going over that score. So I'm still taking over. The Nets also play small. They don't have really any traditional big out there. They get up and down. So I'm going over.
Yeah, so you're looking at this. Both teams are easily getting over 100 points.
Yeah.
And then some. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Let's go to the Oklahoma City Thunder visiting the Washington Wizards. Believe it or not, the Oklahoma City Thunder are getting 3 points in this game.
Right now, the Washington Wizards are dysfunctional.
Yep.
They don't play together. They don't defend. They're trying to figure out who they are. I'm taking the Thunder because at a worst case scenario, the Thunder are really good defensively right now.
Yes,
they've just been stagnant, and we really kind of we busted them up and kind of threw out some fool's gold about them not moving the ball and everything. But they had Boston beat. And Boston is a team that they're a legitimate contender this year. But the Thunder is still very good defensively. They do things well. You just want to see them take that contender, that elite step, which they have not done. But they're gonna blast Washington.
So I've gotten a little intel on Oklahoma City that is encouraging.
Ooh.
which is that the presence of Dennis Schroeder has really been good for Russ Westbrook. And Jeremy Grant is a good presence because what they're seeing from Russ is that Russ is quicker to push the ball ahead. And with Dennis, what he sees in Dennis is he sees another dog. He sees another dude that is ready for the fight.
Ooh,
and that's all Russ.
Bomb.
And that's
dropping
all that Russ needs. So
Bucher bombs.
I like, from what I'm hearing about the chemistry of this OKC team and the shifting of the mindset of Russ Westbrook, it's promising. Because that's the one thing that they have to do. They need to score on the break. They can defend. The half court is always going to be stuttery because they just don't have enough guys who know how to play without the ball. But there's no reason that they can't run it down your throat and at least get, early transition buckets. Get it off the second transition sets.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're right. You're right.
I'm surprised at the way Oklahoma City is playing. I know it's a home game, but the Wizards are a mess right now.
They're a mess, bro.
That they're giving up 3 points in this one just seems like a gimme. It almost makes me nervous. I mean, what am I not taking into account? This is a tough one. The Knicks and the Mavericks. The Knicks are getting 6 points, and obviously neither of these teams is doing very well. Who do you like just in general between these two teams right now? Are you a believer that Dallas is just kind of figuring it out and eventually they're going to be better than what they are right now, which is a 2-6 team, or are they being exposed for not having enough of something?
Well, there are two things. Dennis Smith isn't ready yet. He's still very, very young. He's still finding his way in the NBA. He kind of makes the game hard for himself at times. He's finding a place, and they're heavily playing him, and not just playing him, but relying on him as a playmaker.
Yeah.
He's hurting them right now when it comes to wins and losses. And they're horrible defensively.
Yes, they are.
DeAndre Jordan wants to close up a lot of holes, but when DJ goes to help, if you don't have his back, you leave him on an island. And they're very, very poor defensively. Luka's further along than Dennis, but he's still got some things to figure out. Even though he's been pretty impressive, but they're still incredibly, incredibly young, man. And even off that bench, they're real young. So I like Dallas, but there's a lot to fix over there.
To me, they're a team that is going to get better because Carlisle is going to figure out what everybody's sweet spot is. And from a defensive standpoint, they have to be on a string. They're not athletic enough individually to be able to defend without everybody helping and getting back and everybody being early on their rotations, not late. And so I believe that they will get better at that as they go along. Doncic is their leading scorer. I've been overall impressed with what he's done and how quickly he's come on the scene. DeAndre has disappointed me, and I don't want to be too focused on just recent games, but when they play him at the high post, this was the Lakers game, playing him at the high post, playing through him at the high post, he's so hesitant in making a decision when he's passing the ball. There's no certainty, and it just slows everything up because now nobody's making a sharp cut because they don't know, is he going to pass it, he's not going to pass it. He hesitates. You missed that opportunity. Now you got to kind of throw the ball back up top and reset again. I never thought of him as being that much of a reluctant passer or a challenged passer, but that's what I've been seeing to this point.
No, DJ looks really uncomfortable. The one thing with the Clippers is, we never really asked DJ to do too much. And, one summer he came off of working with Hakeem, like a number of guys, and he was dominating in the post. And they kind of put the brakes on it and said, DJ, roll to rim, block shots, be great at that. And it worked for him. And now he's in a role on a team where I think he can take 2 or 3 dribbles in the post and, get to that right hand or left hand jump hook, in which you're not seeing. I think there's moments where he can catch, he can bait and hook or shoot, hit a little spin move from that elbow. He's fully capable, brother. I've seen it in practice, and especially in small ball, and just dominate. Sometimes he gets rebounds and it's like, you see one guy around you, go to work, DJ. So he's going to have to kind of put his foot down as the elder statesman without Dirk on this team.
What's funny is that he could have been doing this in Dallas and been given this kind of a role in Dallas years ago when they first went after him. And I never really understood why he went back to the Clips, because he had to know that he was, whatever promises they made when they locked him in his house down there, he had to know that wasn't going to happen. He had to know that it was going to be back, as you said. Doesn't matter who you work with, doesn't matter what your game is. You're going to be a rim runner. We're not playing through you. We already got Chris Paul. We already got Blake. We already got too much here. And
well, the thing is, DeAndre, he just wanted to know how important he was. And those guys flying out and doing what they did, they let DeAndre know how important he was. This wasn't the GM. This wasn't a front office. And the one thing I love about DJ, like, loyalty means something to him. Yeah. Like, your word means something. And those guys showed him something in that to make him stay. Now, obviously, we know where we went from there, but it was a big move. That meant a lot to him.
Couldn't they have done that when they made their presentation? Couldn't they have done it earlier? I mean, you had to wait until he was practically in Dallas, that he was going to Dallas, and now you're going to show him how much he means to you? They kind of took him for granted, is the way I look at it. And then they're like, oh, bleep, he's gone. We got to go save him.
Yeah. Ugly situation, bro. Ugly situation. Yeah. That Clipper deal was ugly. It ended ugly.
Knicks, Mavericks. Knicks are getting 6. Over-under is 218. How would you play those two?
I'm going to go with, in this situation, I'm going to go with the Mavericks.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Mavericks. They're going to go above 218 because the Mavericks just jack up shots.
Yeah.
New York moves the ball around a little more, but they're not experienced, but they're well coached. Fizz is doing a good job up there. I'm going to go over. But I'm going to take the Mavericks. If you're going to give them 6, they're better than that. They're
giving the Knicks 6. So they got to win by 6+.
Oh, they're not winning by 6. They're not experienced enough. They're not experienced enough to close a game like that. So You're going to go New York. Okay, I'm reading this wrong.
Gotcha.
Okay, now I'm reading this wrong. Yeah. No, okay. I'm with you. I'm going to go New York then.
Gotcha.
New York is not going to get beat by more than 6. No.
All right, a couple games. We're doing this late Thursday night for Friday. So there's a couple games where the lines have not been set. Grizzlies and the Jazz, Raptors and the Suns. But the Timberwolves-Warriors game is set. The Timberwolves are getting 11 points. So the Warriors have to beat them by more than 11. And the over-under is set at 239. And if I'm not mistaken, in the Warriors' last game, the line was set at 240 originally, and they blew by that. I haven't checked the stats. I can check the stats, but my feeling is that the Warriors are pretty close to getting the over-under. The only time they haven't gone over or made the over is because the team that they're playing hasn't scored enough. It's not because... So the Warriors are 6-3 on over/under. 66.7% of the time they've made the over. Toronto is the best when it comes to over and under. They're 7-1 in their over record. That said, Minnesota getting 11 and the over/under set at 239. How are you playing that?
I'm going to take the Warriors for 11. D-Rose may have shot his load. Obviously, he's no disrespect. They gave him a lot of wide open threes. Mm-hmm. The last game, that was kind of a scouting report. Protect the paint, give up those wide open threes, D-Rose, and he made them pay. Hats off. Love it. But I think they close out to him this game. I'm going to go Warriors. Now, in a sense of 239, I like the point that you're making, Rick. I think Minnesota is going to struggle to score. You don't know if Jimmy shows up. If Jimmy does end up playing, Jimmy's playing not to get hurt now.
Yeah.
Jimmy showed what he had to show. Jimmy's on the floor not to get hurt. And it's enough of a pickle kind of going on over there in Minnesota where it just things ain't working.
Yeah. I just don't get the sense that the Warriors are really worried about playing defense right now. And so if you can get up shots, and I feel as if the T-Wolves have enough guys, Jamal Crawford would help, but they have enough guys who can get up shots that they should be able to hold up their end of the bargain. So my inclination is to go over, to say that they're going to top that. The Golden State's going to have somebody's going to blow up and have a big number. Right now, Golden State is number 1 when it comes to pace in the league. Minnesota is, or actually I take that back, in offensive efficiency. Minnesota is top 10 in offensive efficiency. That might surprise you a little bit, but it's hard for me to bet against Golden State in the over-under, especially if I don't think that Minnesota is coming to crank up their defense. And I just want to take a quick look at what their defensive efficiency is right now, where Minnesota is, because when I think of Tibbs, I think of defensive efficiency.
Man, that might be done.
Dude, they're 27th in the league in defensive efficiency. So
yeah. No.
I'm thinking Golden State's going to light it up. And Golden State really doesn't care about locking you down. They're just trying to pile up wins and keep it moving and not get anybody hurt. So my inclination would be to go with the over on that.
You're going over. Interesting.
We
have not been agreeing anymore. We've been on different sides.
That's, you know what? It happens. It happens. All right. That does it for this edition of Bucher and Hollins. Again, you can read my stuff on Bleacher Report. You can find me on Twitter at Rick Bucher. He's the Ryan Hollins at the Ryan Hollins on Twitter. And you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Bucher Friends. Again, if you enjoy the show, please drop us a rating, review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Just screenshot your review, tweet it to us at Bucher Friends, and you'll be entered for a chance to win some swag from Ryan, Will, or me. I know I'm putting up some... What am I putting up? I'm putting up some Game of Zones swag from Bleacher Report.
Oh.
Yes. Got this sweet T-shirt of Joel Embiid, and it says "Trust the Process" on it in sort of that old English font. I think I got a Game of Zones hat, too, to throw into the mix. I may also be giving away some Bucher Hoop socks. I don't know if you knew this. I have my own... I have my own sock.
Dude, I did not know
sock
that.
line. You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
That's some
sick.
old school socks. The company now, I believe, is defunct that was making them, but I still got a big bag of Bucher Hoop socks, so we'll be giving some of those away as well. And you haven't decided yet what you're contributing to the cause, but I'm sure it'll be some sweet hoops swag.
I got several. I got several.
He's got some. He's Ryan Hollins. I'm Rick Bucher. Again, thank you very much for listening. Our next episode will be on Monday when 10-year vet, defensive back Will Blackman will be joining me, and we will go over all of the events on Sunday in the NFL. In the meantime, have a great weekend.